I'm Annie.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Lactation Business Coaching with Annie and Leah, where we talk about the smart way to create a compassionate and professional private practice.
Let's dive in.
Well, hey there, Leah.
Hey there, Annie. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. You and I have both been very busy and pulled in a lot of different directions. We were chatting about how the holidays have felt extra challenging this year, but even just the year has been a year.
Yeah, it
generally.
totally has. Yeah, and now we're in January and it's just kind of feeling like, not as fresh start January as I had hoped it would feel. It's kind of like more lifing January.
Yeah, okay, back to it.
Yeah, exactly. But, this time of year, I think brings a lot of scheduling logistic things because I think we're getting into the season of like everybody's sick or people are having travel and different kinds of things. Like it's always this time of year that I feel like even more strain on the logistics of scheduling and gets more and more complicated the more people you have in your team and the more people that you are serving. I feel like the scheduling,
Yeah,
the Tetris gets to the level 99, where you're like, there is no solution. And then you have to spend a lot of time. For me, it's a lot of time on the phone with my admin, Amanda. Like we're sorting through, okay, we've got these people, we've got this, issues. It's like this places they want to be seen. Ours just gets really complicated.
So what is your scheduling system? Because I know you and I do things a little bit differently, but we both are dealing with multiple locations, multiple people, and our practices are busy. So how do you guys approach scheduling?
So complicated because we have two offices and they're not close together. So like one's in Pearland and then the other one's like 35, 40 minutes away in Houston. Two offices, and then we have home visits, but each of the providers go to different radius, like different parts, because we all live in different areas, which makes it a little bit complicated. So amazingly, my admin or virtual VA is really good as she's like a systems person. So she has like systems to it, like she starts with like where they want to be seen, what radius are, who can see them. Like if they they want a home visit, and they fall into which radius for which people, then that narrows down who could see them. If they have like an urgent need or if it's like it's a prenatal and they're only 30 weeks pregnant, it's like, okay, we could push that around a little bit more than we could push like a newborn, something urgent need to be seen. So there's so many working parts to it. And then to top it all off, we also we have online scheduling for the office visits, not the home visits. We found that was like, it never worked out because it's just too hard in Houston. Because although you're like, oh, that's really close, you have to really think, okay, this requires you go on this route, which is always trafficy. So you have to like plan longer, even though the distance would make it seem like you could get there in this amount of time. But if it's at this time of the day, you're going to have to like plan for more time, So all the home visits like have to go through Amanda.
So how does that work? Do they text you and then what happens next?
Yeah, they're going to text or call. And then Amanda has like the radius thing. So she's going to look at like, where do they fall? Who could see them? And also like sometimes the people are like, I want to see this particular provider, or they might be like, I just want whoever's the fastest person that can see me.
And how does she see and she has everybody's schedule. So she knows when everybody's available.
So intake queue, we have everybody blocks off the time that they're available. And then they also, our office space, just to make it even more exciting, our office space is only available at certain times. So that's all like blocked off on the calendars too. And so then she can start to see where people will fit in. And then to just like keep making it interesting, we all have kind of like the way we like our schedule done. Like I like bigger gaps between my visits because I'm just a chronic run overtime person. So she just knows that. She like always gives me a long gap. But other people, like, they just want to get to the next visit and don't want to have the leisure time in between or the luxury of any empty space there, which I love. I'm like, oh, I like to just be able to mosey on over to the next place. But like Amy, she wants to get there, get going. And so she'll have like tighter gaps, you know? So basically, my VA is amazing and she can somehow work this out with like a flow chart basically in her brain of how she just starts like hacking away at who could be seen. But she and I usually talk like once or twice a week on the phone when it's a little bit more like, hey, like I can't fit this person anywhere. Can I fit them here? You're going to have to be starting earlier than your normal time. So she does have the leeway, and we ask her like if there's anybody that needs to be squeezed in, you know, we all are pretty flexible on some days where we're like, hey, I'll work 30 minutes later so that that person can be seen or start 30 minutes earlier. But that sometimes causes problems too, because then they have to wait for us to reply. Like, so she can't get the person scheduled because she's like waiting to see if we can agree to that, which might take a whole day because we're in visits, you know. So if we're at the pediatric clinic, they run our schedule. So I might be completely full. So when we're working under them, they do all of our scheduling. So our scheduling is like majorly complicated. And I probably, now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I should give Amanda a raise just because it is complicated with 3 providers and all these locations and then all these like different versions of scheduling that we need to do. It always ends up working out. So when it feels like crazy stressful and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're never going to be able to figure this out, I always just tell myself it always works out. It always works out. We always figure out a plan. Everybody always gets seen, or we refer them to somebody who we know can see them. You know, like it always works out. So I just have to like take a deep breath and be like, okay, we'll figure it out. We'll work it out. It is the stress point, especially when it feels like there's a lot of requests all at one time, you know? I think that's like the hardest part. But so I know you have the factor of like interns. I don't have any interns right now. And I feel like that adds another layer because you have like somebody else who needs to be like potentially considered in like your scheduling and all of that. So what do you do? Like, what's your scheduling?
Yeah, well, we have, right now I've got 2 interns and then 1 intern who just got her IBCLC. And so she's doing some shadowing and training to start coming to work as a contractor. So I do things totally differently because I don't want to talk to anybody before they book. I don't want to get involved in like a back and forth about time and place because it wouldn't end up being an admin who would do it. It's me.
Yeah.
It's me. And I don't want to do it. So we played around. We were having like a nightmare. It was so challenging of like, we have an office 3 days a week. It's only one office location. We only have it. Well, actually, we have it every day but Tuesday and Thursday. So we do also have it on the weekends. I have 2 people that are working for me right now. They don't have much overlap in their service area. I also recently decided I'm not doing home visits anymore. So I'm just in the office 3 days a week. And then I have these 2 people doing home visits. Soon we'll have a third doing home visits. So the interns come to the office with me and they know that they can go on home visits if they want to. They have to do that themselves. They have to look at people's schedules and they have to say, can I come with you to this home visit? You have to be self-motivated with that.
Yeah. I can't drag you along trying to get you to do it.
I can't, I'm never going to remember to ask you if you want to come.
Right.
So we were doing it where people had to wait 7 days to book, you could only book, you couldn't book more than 7 days out in intake queue, unless it was a follow-up or a prenatal. And then people could book those like weeks ahead of time. But then we would have people being like, when are the new appointments going to be open? And I'd be like, you have to check back tomorrow. They're like, is it tomorrow? What time tomorrow? When can we check back? And they were like, I don't know. It's first come, first serve. And we always get more requests than we can accommodate because we take so much insurance. And then there was like the home visit. We charge a home visit fee. If they don't want to come to the office, they can pay extra. But then people would like pay it, but we're like, we don't go to New Jersey and then we have to refund them.
Yes.
And then it's confusing. So what we decided, and this has been working, is I'm like, we're going to change everything. People can now book up to 3 months in advance. Like you can go in there and book an appointment with me for March because, the other thing that people would do is like, they try to book a postpartum visit before their baby comes. And we're like, you don't know when your baby is coming.
We have that happen too. Oh my gosh. Yes.
And then I'm like chasing them down. Like, is your baby here yet?
Right.
So we're like, you know what? This is how it's going to work now is you can book up to 3 months in advance and you can book a postpartum visit 2 weeks after your due date or 1 day or on your due date, like whatever you think this is happening, it's fine. But we tell them we have a wait list. And actually now when people go on, the earliest they will see for an office visit with me is February because so they can book in February and they'll say, we usually have earlier appointments available, but the way you get on the wait list is you have to submit the intake form. So they request the appointment. If these people go ahead, fill out the intake form, then they get on the wait list for an earlier appointment in the order that they submitted the intake form.
How do you keep track of that?
Okay.
That feels like that would be confusing.
I have a task in intake queue. It's like waitlist number 1, waitlist number 2, waitlist number 3. And so then what happens is, and the reason they can't see any appointments until February is because my December people, I took 2 weeks off for the holidays, for Christmas and New Year's. And so my first day back is early January, but I already am full for the first 2 weeks of January we're recording this at the end of December, are already full with clients. There's like prenatals and follow-ups, but I know a bunch of them are probably going to cancel, postpone, reschedule. Then I'm like, okay, what do we do? Now it was like people were, texting us like the day before, like on Sunday for Monday, like I can't make it tomorrow. Can we reschedule? And I'm like, that's fine because I've got a wait list and I'll slot somebody else in there. But I'm like, I don't want to do that on a Sunday. So now our system got the wait list. We have all these people stacked up and ready. My admin goes through 2 business days. So like for Friday, she does this on Wednesday. For Monday, she's doing it on Thursday or Friday morning. And auto confirms, like manually confirms every single person. And they're like, please let us know by 3 p.m. today if you intend to be at your appointment on Friday at this time. And if you don't, that's fine. Just let us know. And then if you don't get back to us, your appointment might be rescheduled. And so then she's catching all these people who are like, oh yeah, actually Friday at 11 doesn't work. I meant to do that. And then she moves them. And then she tells me I have it blocked on intake queue, hold for the wait list. And then I can slot waitlist people in there. So that has given me, I feel like, a lot better control of my schedule. I feel I've even been able, because we have the intake form, their chart is already set up. I've even been able to accommodate like same day. Like, can you be here in an hour?
Yeah.
And it's worked to have them do the intake form because before we were waiting, we don't need the intake form until like a day before. But then we're like, I could see you tomorrow, but you haven't even started the intake form. We've never even like made contact with you.
Right. So it's going to be like unlikely that they're going to get that done before an hour visit, visit an hour away. Yeah.
So this has worked really well. And then we even set up on intake queue, like automated appointment confirmation. So my admin only has to look and see they got the email, the confirmation email, they opened it and they click confirm, they're confirmed.
Yeah.
But if they didn't open the email, we're like, we don't know. You made this appointment a month ago. Are you still planning to come? Those are the ones that she texts and has them get back to her. And then for the wait list, I'll text somebody and be like, I had a cancellation. I can see you tomorrow at 11. Please let me know by 2:00.
Right.
Because I have other people on the wait list.
Yeah. Yeah. I love having the confirmation, like through the system confirmation. And, you get the little check and I'm like, okay, all these people are confirmed.
They're good. They're coming.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't get too many like cancellations, which is good for our like private visits. Now we get more in the office for the pediatric clinic, which is challenging, but they do a really good job of like working to get confirmations. They have a confirmation system as well, and they make phone calls and they try really hard. And I appreciate that. But we do get gaps more often in the clinic than we do for our private visits. But I think one of the differences between us is I don't have people booked that far out other than like prenatals, like definitely prenatals we get, but I don't have a lot of like initials or follow-ups booked that far out. So most people are making it, pretty, like a week out or 2 weeks at the most out. And then I think that makes it easier. Like they haven't forgotten about it or their schedule hasn't changed tremendously, but we carry a wait list as well for those, one-off times where a cancellation does happen or I get some open time at the clinic. I'm like, hey, there's a gap here. I could fit somebody in. So we too have a wait list that my admin is kind of like keeping track of. She has a system for that. And she can oftentimes get people in sooner. So like we do the same thing. We'll be like, go ahead and let's just book what we have available. We're going to put you on the wait list, have everything ready, try to get your intake form, everything ready. We haven't required it, but I love the idea of like requiring that. We're able oftentimes to get them in sooner or something happens, opens up for our schedule. Like, hey, I thought I was going to have to do this, but I have some space now that I feel like I can make this fit and see people sooner. I am like, the bleeding heart. I hate thinking about people waiting. So I'm usually like, when I know there's people on the wait list, I'm usually keeping my eye out for like places to fit them in when I feel like I have the capacity. I'm always like, okay, actually, my family, they're all, not having the plans we thought we had this afternoon and we're not going to do. So like, I'll just go ahead and see this person, or I can actually fit them in because I was already going to be in this area. Now I feel like I could work an extra 30 minutes and see them. I'm always having that like run in the back of my mind, which is sometimes challenging, because I feel like there's always like loose ends. I guess is kind of what it feels like with scheduling. It's always feels like there's loose ends, but I've tried to embrace like anytime there's open spaces, like at the pediatric clinic, I have like a running to-do list of what I do, which has really helped me. So instead of feeling like frustrated that I have a gap at the pediatric clinic, I have not blocked off as much like admin time as I used to. I used to block like sometimes a half day or a whole day a week to like run my business. Now I just have like my tasks for admin work. And I just tell myself I'm at work, even if I'm at the pediatric clinic, I'm at work. And if a visit gets canceled, like last minute, or sometimes we get like no shows, like we don't even know, they just don't show up. I always have my computer there and my little list. So I'm like, oh, today I need to look at this, admin thing or that admin thing. And it's actually helped me a little bit with that because I'm already in work mode. I'm not at my house because admin work at my house like never seems to work for me because I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go start a load of laundry and then I'll sit down and do that. And then I'm like, oh, but here's this stuff on the floor right here that I was going to put away. So like, let me go do that. And then I'm going to go sit down and do it. And then I'm like, oh, but I did want to get this thing out because it's here in the closet already. And then I just trail off and I'm like, there's my admin work for the day. Was housework.
I'm the same way. Like I'm like, if I'm in the office and I have a cancel, and I tried not to have any open spot, but I can't, I'm like, I'll just sit here and like I'll run through my tasks on intake queue. I'll update whatever I have to do. But like, I found that because the other thing I do, and the reason also why people can't see is not because I have appointments scheduled through January. It's because I have blocked off that's for follow-ups. And so I want to make sure like every week, I want to make sure the following week has free space because otherwise I did notice, and that was why we were doing the you can't book more than 7 days in advance was to make sure that we scheduled our follow-ups first. Yeah. But now I'm like, no, I'm just going to like hold the space. I have a sense in my mind of like how many I need to do. But then as soon as like that days are set, then I open it up. Then it's either goes to the wait list or open to the public. Yeah. And that has worked a lot better than the like Hunger Games of like,
can get to the follow-up first.
It's, I don't know. We even like, we're asking intake queue, like, do they open at midnight or is it like 7 days prior to the open appointment time? Because people were really trying to get that granular. Intake queue was like, are you seriously asking us this? And like, and like intake queue support, sometimes you go back and forth and you get the most maddening answers or like, did you even read my email? Right. And I think we might've even given up trying to get that question answered. Like, is it 9 a.m.? Is it 12:01 midnight? I don't know.
We could tell people when to scramble to their computer.
Yeah, when to scramble. Yeah. And we also have like the, the autoresponder of like, we'll say like, here's where you book online. If you have additional questions, put them here. Someone will get back in 1 business day. And so if they write and they say, I don't see anything until February, then we'll say you can book that, fill out the intake form, get on the wait list, or you can contact the New York Lactation Consultant Association warm line, text line, where they have like just the referrals. And that's where it's just like, or you can see about finding somebody else. I can't help. I'm not going to help you with that. I can't help you with that.
Yeah,
There's too many lactation consultants in New York City.
Somebody. Yeah.
But here's a way to find somebody sooner. If you want to work with us, this is how it works. Yeah. And my admin does spend time like 24 hours after they book the appointment. If they haven't started the intake form, she reminds them, or she'll, we have a whole system too of like, the first text is, this is City Lactation with a question for you. Please confirm your name and date of birth. And then they'll write back and say, oh yeah, this is me. And she'll say, great, just the intake form was sent to your email. Let me know if you have any questions. Please fill it out. As soon as you do, you get on the intake form. Or sometimes she gets nothing back from them. And if they don't respond in 24, like to that text, she'll send them an email. If they don't respond to her email, she just cancels the appointment.
Yeah, extra like you maybe were like scrambling.
Yeah, you probably booked with like 3 people. Yeah. And it's fine. Like, go ahead. Like nothing, no
you have
personal.
A wait list and you can fit them in.
And I also like when it comes to like charging a cancellation fee, I do have a really hard time with that. And I just have had, and I know it's like, this is a kind of a contentious thing. And I will say that there's like value in like my time. And like, yes, if somebody cancels and I can't fill that spot, that's money that I couldn't make, that you prevented me from making. But I almost always can fill that spot. And the few times that I have tried to charge a cancellation fee, I've never had anybody just accept that. I've had people threaten chargebacks. I've had people like, which can like hurt your business. I've had people just like put nasty reviews on Google just about our schedule. And I'm like, I can't take that. And our cancellation fee is just not enough money to be worth it.
Some life-changing difference for you, right?
But I definitely understand and respect the whole concept of the cancellation fee. It just that this system has like prevented that. Like I don't have to worry about lost income for a lost appointment spot because I'm filling all of the appointment spots.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like for me, with having this kind of mindset of like in my gaps is where I'm going to fit my admin work. And I sometimes need to block other time if I'm like, whoa, this week is going to be crazy. I'm going to have to block time for my admin work. I feel like I'm also not losing money now, like, because I'm not having to block time to do my admin work. If I have a gap, I know where I can do that work, maybe 1 or 2 hours a week that I get that time kind of handed to me. Then I don't have to like block another day where I would lose even more visit opportunities, So for me, it kind of works out well. And I feel like we get a fair amount of people that ask about cancellation fees. Like, do you guys have one? Like, when do we need to cancel? Sometimes it's because they have, maybe they're looking for other options. Like, is there somebody that can see me sooner or something like that? And we always, we have a cancellation fee. But again, we usually don't end up having to apply it because either they've let us know in enough time and we've, don't charge them. Or we're just like, okay, it's fine. I'm not like you. I'm just not going to chase that down and make a big deal out of it. But we've actually had other people who are like, I'm canceling. I'm so sorry. I realize that I'll have to pay the cancellation fee.
If they say that, I'm like,
okay, thank you.
I'll take it.
And I appreciate you being like understanding that it's your responsibility in pieces of this too. And then we also like if they are sick or their kids are sick or something like that, like I don't charge a cancellation.
Yeah, we don't charge a cancellation fee
because I don't want to see you.
No,
and I don't want you to like push through and power through because you don't want to have to pay the fee.
Absolutely
I'm like, no,
not.
Please just like by all means, I will take the time to
if
not
you
get
or
sick.
anyone that you share space with is sick, please cancel. No
I
fee.
know.
Don't.
Because that's going to cost me so much more
Yeah.
money. Like them being like, well, I don't want to have to pay the fee. So just go ahead and come. And then I get
Exactly.
sick. I'm going to be out like so much money. It's for me, it like pays off to like just be like, it's fine. And I don't think we haven't had an experience where I feel like people are taking advantage of that. Like, oh, I'm sick. I can't come to the appointment. You know, I mean, like people, I think in our line of work, like genuinely want the help.
Yeah.
So I think we have less of like a risk of people, you know, taking advantage of like, I'm sick, so I can't pay the cancellation fee. You know, like don't charge me.
I
I
don't
don't think
think
anybody's doing that. And again, even if they were, I'm like, okay, well, obviously this visit isn't needed for you. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, we don't really encounter
I think
any struggles around that either.
with this new system that we put into place, like the primary goal was to get people confirmed ahead of like the cancellation window is to be like, I actually don't want a last minute cancel, even if I were able to get, you know, charge the card and like not have anything happen. And some of that I think is probably just my own fear because but it has happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just would rather mentally be like, okay, my appointment's for Monday. By Thursday afternoon, everyone has said they can come. And the people who can't come, I already know. And I'm not having to wait till Sunday afternoon to then deal with it. And then also feel like I do want to fill the spot. I do have a wait list. I feel like that has like psychically worked so much better for me just to know that like I have my appointments filled. And then I also, when it does come to those cancellations, I do think for me, that empty spot and feeling good about those empty times in my schedule is really taking like a zoomed out view of my appointments and like how many have I done this month? Have I hit my quota for the month already? Oh, am I a little under? You know what? Then I'm looking ahead at this. I was going to take, you know, leave early this date. Well, now I'm not going to because I'm going to make that up. But I do feel like when I look at the bigger picture, that also helps me not feel like every minute has to be $1.
Yes. Yeah. It does make a big difference. And I feel like we need to keep addressing this because it's where this like little seeping in of stress is just kind of tacking away at our resilience. You know, it's just like a little place. It's not like big, huge stress all the time, but it's like this little place where it's just like ticking away at your resilience to like be able to come back from other bigger stressors in your life if you always have this like little scheduling stress that's always kind of flittering in the back of your mind. So I love the ideas that you've shared because it's making me think of like, hey, are there other things that we could be doing, other strategies that we could address? Because I do think it's an ongoing thing. It's never going to go away. You know, it's always going to be there. And I don't think there's any perfect system. And I feel like everybody has to probably have very unique system for their lifestyle and their work schedules and their other, you know, responsibilities and, you know, boundaries that they need to have. I don't think there's like any one like perfect scheduling system out there for everyone. So I think it's like, I encourage everyone to keep kind of thinking about this and thinking, and I love that you came up with something like really creative and new and unique. And then it's opened up this sense of like lower stress and more freedom.
I have to give credit also to Kara, who works for me, because Kara has amazing boundaries. She's got a great sense of like what feels fair and what feels right. And especially also in terms of the cancellation fee. And so she and I had a lot of conversations back and forth about how to really balance this idea of like, you know, how do we have scheduling policies that have grace built into them for what postpartum families are dealing with.
Yeah,
and so that we're not like, I mean, it's a big piece and just feeling like the scheduling process is part of them being taken care of by us, but also making sure that we are not just anything goes. You can treat
like
us however you want.
yourself.
Like, I don't, you know, like this is a business and we are, you know, trying to make money and we can't have policies that impact the bottom line of the business. So this system, and we've been using it now for about 6 months, was definitely came out of a conversation I was having with Kara, who she works the most for me. So I just really want to kind of like just give appreciation to her for having such great ideas and being somebody I can bounce this stuff off of and bringing her perspective. So I just really appreciate you, Kara, if you're listening.
I love it. I know. And I think that's another thing is like this chance to like bounce these ideas off of each other and like talk through this stuff is so valuable because there's a lot of creativity that you can tap into to try to make scheduling work for both the families that we're serving, but then making sure that we're not just losing ourselves in this act of service and forgetting that we have like our own needs and our own responsibilities and our own families that we need to care for. That is got to be a consideration when we're making our scheduling choices and things. And I will just say, like, for anybody who's starting out, it evolves too. You know, I feel like when you're starting out, you're just like, see everyone all the time. You need me to come at 9 p.m. I will be there at 9 p.m. You remember we've talked about that so many times. Or maybe you're like, I have a young family and I have to have like really tight boundaries right now. Like I've got to, you know, go home and feed my own baby or something, you know. And it's been such an evolution. Like we've done like countless number of strategies. So also like, don't get too locked into like, I found the perfect one, but for some reason it just doesn't feel right anymore. I'm like, it could be that it just needs to evolve for this stage of life you're in or your needs or your financial goals. You know, it can keep evolving. And I know mine will too. I know we'll keep evolving. And probably
Definitely.
my admin Amanda will listen to this and be like, okay, Leah, we're changing everything. Like, I like Annie's stricter version of this. We're implementing this today. So that might happen. So hopefully she doesn't listen to this. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sure if she does, she'll come up with a system that makes it really like easy for you.
System queen. Oh my gosh, like the system queen ever. And there will be a spreadsheet involved that I don't understand. But anyway, this has been so fun talking about this. It's a great way to start the year and just really remembering like this is such a big part of our business, but it's also a big source of stress. And like, I'm so glad that we talked about this today because I feel like there's definitely some ideas that I walked away with that I'm going to kind of make some shifts in what I'm doing as well.
It's always good to talk it through and also just hear how you're doing things. And like you were saying, there isn't one right way to do things. When it comes to scheduling, it is so situational. So yeah, if you would like to continue the conversation about all things private practice, our next deeper dive is coming up on January 27th. We are doing a deeper dive into queer families with Jacob Engelsman, IBCLC. We are really looking forward to this conversation. You can join, just come to the deeper dive, or you can sign up for our deeper dive membership, where it gets you access to all of our live deeper dives, plus our archive, which goes all the way back to January 2020, which was legit a million years ago.
5 years. Are you kidding me? Right?
Crazy. I know.
Insane.
And we have not missed a month. So since then, anyway, we'd love to have you join us. And we're planning out our 2025 schedule of deeper dives. We've got some exciting speakers lined up that we're getting ready to announce. So make sure you are subscribed to my mailing list and listening if you're listening to the podcast. And we just thank you so much for being out there and supporting us and supporting each other and supporting families and supporting your own families and reaching your goals and all the good things. I hope it all happens for you this year.
Yes, 2025. It's the year. So everyone take care and we'll look forward to seeing you again very soon.
See you soon.
Bye. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend and leave us a review. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.